Right, so I'm going to continue work here on the VTOL cargo plane. And so making some good progress. It is now a VTOL again, added on the engines. I'm currently trying to get it all tuned up so that it works properly. So I presently have yaw is established and working well. Having some pitch issues, which I need to work on. I'm going to try to first start by just dragging the center of gravity aftward. Let's see what's the best way to do that. Trying to see where I have blocks here I can kind of play with. Have to be careful with some of this here. And that's that. Okay. So add in some weight blocks where I can. Start by doing that. What do you? That can go. That can go. That needs to stay. So that goes there. Oh, it's all this. All this is wheel well stuff. So wheel wells can get weight blocks. Okay, and that can go. So let's do this. All right, so I'm just adding these where I can, and then I'll really bang it a bunch. That is, what was that I just deleted? That was the fluid port. That should be a corner piece. Yep. Okay. You are there. Okay. So I'm just trying to add some mass to the rear. Trying to get this mass back as far as I can. So put some in the tail here. Could put a battle cannon piece here. See what battle cannon piece extension cost me. I don't really care about cost too much, but stick a couple there. See, how many did I put in here? Okay, I can fit that. I can fit 3 in there. What do you need to be there? Okay, good. So I'm using battle cannon pieces because they weigh 40 for a 3-slot item, where weight blocks weigh 30 for a 3-slot item. So packing a little bit more mass by doing it this way. All right, where's my... Okay, so that's the back of the camera there, and then I'm going to grab some weight blocks. All right. All right, so just packing in as much mass as I can right now. Let's get rid of that. I don't like where that's sitting. Let's see how much I pulled it back. Pull it back a little bit more. We're having a nose heavy pitch, and so I'm going to fix some of it, but again, weight and balance is incredibly important in aviation, so to kind of nip the weight and balance issue in the bud. Let's say that. All right. And so kind of start doing this. You know, it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing, but it is for me too. So just jamming as much mass in the back here as I can. Trying to, you know, also bring that center of gravity back. I was having some issues with too far forward of a center of gravity. I can also jam a ton in my tail here. So this is all, you know, the tail can mostly is going to be hollow, and I can kind of jam a bunch of mass in here. Nope. So that was me deleting the camera. I don't want to do that. I have a tail camera. That's going to be an exterior block. That's going to be an interior block. And so just gently and quick taking care of these here. All right, and so that's that. What do you? This can all be cut out. This is going to be an area of the build where you don't go in anyway, so I can kind of cut out some of this stuff here. What is this? what is this here? That is just, that's old. Nope, that needs to be there. Yep, those are 4s. Okay, good. So that can cut. That needs to stay. Okay, good to know. It's all good. Okay, good. That's the TV for Sky's PFD. All but that piece can go. All right, good. So I don't want to get the center of gravity too high either. Your center of thrust is split between our turbines here. And so I don't want to raise it too much, but I do want to keep trying to drag this center of gravity aftward, and so this will be helpful. You know, by putting it as far back as I can, I'm really, with a little bit of weight, dragging the CG to the aft here. All right, and then let's continue on here. Let's go down. Let's see where. Sorry, it's kind of, I know it's kind of nauseating, but we'll get it there. Oh, come on. Just snap to the end of the battle cannon piece, you ding-dong. There we go. Wow. Being obnoxious today. All right, so how much? So we sucked that back quite a bit. Let's go take a quick test flight. I want to see where it's at. It's been a little bit since I've flown this, so let's give it a flight and see how we're doing. I need infinite electricity on, vehicle damage off. So seeing it has 4 engines now, it's going to need some cockpit rework, but it's not too bad. Put the flaps down, start pushing our engines down. All right, and so let's go ahead and remove the parking brake. Tip the engines down a little bit more. So it's currently, you know, I can control pitch fine once we get in the air, but when I'm lifting off, it's a little bit nose heavy. And so I want to fix that. So autopilot should come on. Engine should come back to vertical. And then I have a trim in there. I want to get, no, I don't. Okay, good. Beautiful. That's awesome. That's really much better. All right, so it's over pitching the nose. What? Okay, so it's just taking me a little bit of time to get it to respond, but I'm able to control it pretty well now. So probably just a little bit extra. See, like right now I'm full S, and it's just taking me a second for it to spool up. So it's just a little bit slow. So a little bit more balancing towards the tail. You see, I'm at full elevator. I'm at full, and I'm struggling to keep my nose up. So what I should do is maybe increase the amount that the rear engines slow down as well. All right, so let's go forward. So it's this way, actually. All right, and there we go. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so that's very nice, simple transition. And we're up and running here. And we are now a VTOL. Or we're now a forward flying plane. Let's go around. We'll do a quick pattern and we'll land. So max speed's not as high as I would like. We're only talking 270, but I have yet to tune these. So I'm not really overly concerned about, you know, like the Cap Air jet flies 300 knots. Ideally, I'd like to get them up to 320. That's kind of a, you know, speed like the Embraer 145. That was its max speed. That's kind of where I wanted it. But the issue is that, again, the distances in the game are so short that I don't really need that much speed because I can't use it. Like I get up to say 30,000 feet, I instantly have to come down, and then I have to slow down as well because the distances are so short. It's only 45 nautical miles to the Arctic from here. A little bit more, maybe 50. And so the distances are so short, it really, it's not worth it. I don't need that speed, and so I don't want to trade the efficiency for it. So let's go ahead and start slowing down. Start dragging our thrust back, or pulling our thrust back. And we're coming into land here. We're going to do a vertical landing, or a short landing here. So I'm going to get this slowed down right to 120-ish, and then I want to drop gear. I want to drop flaps to full, and I want to start to bring the engines up, which I know I have them backwards, but so there's like I don't know, what is that, 35, 40 degrees almost. So I'm down to 50 knots, and we're doing well here. So this is going to be great so one of the reasons I built this was to account for how the devs built the cargo system is, one of the issues they did with cargo that's problematic is, you have, it's very difficult to bring containers to BVG in the Arctic. And so realistically, you would have at least, you'd probably have a road, or you could do just shipping or train, but they have shipping and train. They don't really have any road access, and so it often ends up in game that everybody defaults to helicopter doing everything, and I don't want to do that. And so, kind of cool having this where it can fly directly to BVG. All right, so you see we're down to 45 knots. Let's go vertical, and let's add just a hair of power so we are still descending, but not by much. All right, beautiful. This is really nice. All right, so we should have vertical engines at this point. My pitch, I cannot control my pitch anymore. All right, so we need to work on the pitch. I'm getting to the point where I can't get the engines to respond fast enough, and that's problematic. I also don't have roll. Let me get this back in the air, and let me try roll. So see, we're having pitch problems already. Full aft, and it's very slow to respond. And so what I think I might do is do a companion PID that adds it, and that will give me quicker engine response time. So let's try a roll to the left here. Nothing. Okay, so that's not working either. So I'm trying to thrust them. Like right now I'm pitching, pitch, pitch, pitch. You see how it's just slow? So, instead of tuning the PID up so that it overreacts for my regular thrust, I'm going to, I think I'm going to just add the value. So let's try that. So I'm probably making no sense to you, but I will show you instead. All right, so good. Let's go ahead, and we made some changes to this, so let's save it. And we need to make some more changes. So we need some more weight in the tail. So let's add some more. What are we at here weight-wise? 16,744. All right, so let's add some more mass to this sucker. So let's do, come on, why is this being misbehaving? It doesn't like these being, okay, because I was actually literally inside of it. Okay, that would be why. So let's do 2 more columns. So it was a 16,744. And I'm using the battle cannons again because they are more space conscious. All right, and that is 17. So we do about 500 on there. Let's go more. Let's do one more line. I don't want to overdo this and then have to go back in and delete because I'm going to be doing kind of the anti-scientific thing and making a couple changes at once. What is this now? Why? Oh, I missed a whole column. So let's do another column. Screw it. Again, I can always come back in and delete it if need be. All right, good. So we have our mass in there. So this is something you have to, you don't do with battle canopies, of course, but you really have to work on center of gravity. And so again, I want this center of lift back further than it'd be in real life. In real life, it'd probably be more center of the wing. Here, you have to get it back more where the control surfaces are. Plus, you have a horizontal tail plane that's also making lift, so it drags the lift vectors probably actually back here. And so I need to drag the center of gravity back. All right, so that's set up. Let's save that right here. All right, and so let's work on how these engines are working. So, All right, and so let's go into the turbine controller. And so I need to look at the thrust. So here we have thrust settings, and so what am I running? Running a consistent p-value of 1 for all of them. Let's do this. You go, you go. And so let's try something. Famous last words always. But okay, so currently we have it set so that our p-value is 1. Let's just go to 2 and see if I get better control, because what we're doing here is, where are we at? Right here, this is the, is that the pitch component? This should be the pitch component right here. What is all this? Let me check these. Yeah, I need to check this here. Actually, you know what? Let's change this back to 1. Let's check this, and then I'll increase this value again. So this is, let me change this name, so. Okay. All right, so 1 is, okay, that's interesting. So 1 is roll. Here's pitch. What is pitch reporting as? Oh, no, it's going to the engines. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are pre-added. Okay, I get what I did. I'm just trying to remember what I did. All right, so let's see. So currently I'm multiplying these by 2. Let's go by 10 and see if it makes a big difference. If it doesn't, then we know that's not going to work. And then it's all 4 engines. Okay, that makes more sense. I did it that way. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's try to take a flight. So we did 2 things. So tend not to want to do that because you don't know which one worked, which one didn't work, which one's making it worse, you know. But by doing, you know, I'm going to need to add the mass anyway. So I'm kind of confident in doing that. All right, there we go. All right, let's remove the brake and taxi out. So is it not steering for me? So something's up. It doesn't want to steer now. It just really doesn't want to steer, which is annoying. Something's up that it's not going to steer and it's going to hit this and be annoying. Come on. Pain in the ass. So something got screwed up. Something's interacting that it doesn't want to steer anymore, which is usually a physics interaction. All right, let's see if I can salvage this. Why shut vehicle damage off? It's a pain in the ass, I'll tell you that. So my steering's not working now because probably something I put in physics-wise, which I would say is the something in the tail there does not want to behave itself. So because I might be taking too much pressure off of the nose wheel and it's not steering, so. All right, see, I can actually back up a little bit with those front turbines pivoting. So let's see how it picks up. So now it's a lot of weight. Nice. It's actually. So it's doing it backwards. So that seems like way too much weight in the ass. So let's see if I can actually control it in the air. Okay. So let's take some mass out of the tail. So let's take out 2 columns. It would be great if they had a center of lift vector in here so I could see it, but they don't. So let's go ahead and spawn that. So again, there's so much weight in the tail that it was causing this nose wheel to lift off the ground. That's why it's sliding so much, is it doesn't have that grip there. It's from stealing grip, essentially. So, fix a problem, have to fix another problem. That was the one I needed to hold on to, okay. Let's get back in my seat. Let's try to taxi this out. See, come on, man. Give me some taxi authority here. See, I can also use my turbines to help me turn. So it's already taxiing better, so taking out that weight. Okay, so it's taxing better, so a reasonable chance this is going to behave itself. Now, you know, you have to get the center of gravity pretty close in real life as well. Like, they do things that if you have a trainer airplane and you're flying with one person all the time, or if, let's say you have a plane that's, you know, was kind of designed to have passengers, two people in the back, it's a four-seater. If it's going to be used as a trainer, often they'll put sandbags in the nose because to account for not having any people back there and get the center of gravity back within the envelope. All right, that's on. Let's try to gently take off. You know, people are probably screaming, use a tilt sensor. No, that's not the plan here. The plan is, so it's still tail heavy, okay? So the plan is, you know, I want this to be a manual plane. You know, I am a professional equipment operator. I'm to be in charge of this, not some automated system that takes control away from me. I'm not interested in that. I want to be in control of my own vehicle. That's where I derive the joy from actually operating this stuff, is actually operating a vehicle. I have no interest in having it do it for me. It's one of the reasons I don't like the microcontrollers that some people use that are that nanny you too much. I want to be in charge of this. I want to control it myself, and so that's why I under automate my stuff compared to probably most. Is, you know, and of course, you know, I have the experience. I've flown, you know, real aircraft and have that flight experience. So you know, I know a lot about it, and I know how to control it, and I know how to fix situations, and so I understand, you know, the benefits of automation for not for, you know, for these things. But I find overly automated stuff to be so incredibly boring that it's, you know, the equipment operation to me is what's enjoyable, and so I want to do that myself. You know, it's I used to hand fly the plane, you know, on some of the shorter legs. Like if we go, you know, New York to Boston, I would hand fly it because it was like, you know, that's the enjoyable part is actually flying the airplane. You know, sitting there watching it on autopilot is pretty damn boring. You know, and so it's you know, you're just pretty much talking on the radio the whole time and spinning a couple dials. It's much more fun to be engaged, you know, and it makes you a better pilot. You know, it makes you a better equipment operator to actually operate the equipment. So. All right, so we went from a very heavy nose down attitude to a tail down attitude. So some of our changes, again, I probably shouldn't have done two at once, but look at that. Okay, so I'm full S, and I still haven't had it respond. Okay, so the p-value is probably a little bit slow. So one thing we have to worry about that we also have to worry about in real life is when we load this, it needs to when we load the aircraft, we need to be careful where the center of gravity is. So there'll be a center of gravity marker on the floor And when we actively put containers in there, we have to worry about that. So like right now I'm trying to roll and I'm actually getting pitch on roll. That's weird. Okay. So I'm pitching here. I'm getting pitch, but it's very slow, which could mean a low p-value. So let's double that p-value and see where we're getting there. So let me just kind of go through the logic of this really quick and see if I can see what the last thing I did, if that was actually probably doing anything. So we have gyro pitch. It's going to give me a number from maximum of -1 to +1. I'm multiplying it then by 10 to just give me a value. Okay, invalid. Okay. Okay, that's why I just did 10x. Okay. That's why. Okay, so that's why this didn't do anything. All right, good. I just did it quickly and forgot. So let's try that first, because that would make sense why it wasn't giving me more controllability, because I actually didn't multiply it. So let's try it again. You know, it's a little bit annoying where, you know, I saved a ton of time by having this cockpit already set up from the Cap Air Jet. Where I lost some time was it's set up where I have to do all those startup procedures, so startup takes a lot longer than it needs to because of that. You know, but it's not a huge deal. Okay, and then I want to push my engines down. Let's start. I need to take the brake off. One thing I do love about the game is they did it really well, being able to do Q and E at the same time and still operate. It allows you to really do multiple things at once, which is nice. A lot of games don't let you do that, you know. And then when I go to third person, it will still hold the button I'm pressing, so it makes it really nice to control it. All right. All right, so we're out. Let's go ahead and raise the turbines to the vertical position. All right, so now we're doing 10 times the multiplication on what it will give us for essentially how much RPS we can change on the engines for pitch. All right, so see how much it's much more sensitive. Okay, good. So we're going the right direction. 10 is probably ridiculous. 10, I would say, is definitely ridiculous. But it's showing us that it's giving us greater maneuverability, so that's good. So where we were at 10, let's go to 3 and see if that does it, because 10 is just too much. So let's see if 3 is a more reasonable number. Hopefully 3 is a more reasonable number. I'm hoping. You know, this tuning can be entertaining to a certain extent for myself. Sometimes it gets tedious. You know, that's why I tend not to do too many videos on just like going through the tuning, as it can kind of be tedious. All right, so let's go ahead and push the turbines down. Let's go ahead and throw off the parking brake. Taxi out. So I don't need to push the turbines all the way forward when I'm taxiing here. I also have more yaw control with the turbines themselves on the ground here. They actually twist. Roll is still going to be an issue, so I have to think about, you know, roll is going to be, it's essentially, it's reducing the thrust on the, say I want to roll left, it's reducing the thrust on the port engines and gently increasing them on the starboard engines. That's essentially what pitch is doing, but it's doing it forward and back. Did I just have a turbine die? This turbine's running lower. Did I just kill the turbine? Yeah, this back right one is just died. Why? Something's up with this. Okay. Let me try starting that. So that would be why we had issues last time, was that died. So it's probably a clamp issue. I'm probably feeding a negative in somewhere. Okay, let's try this and see if that stays lit. All right, they're all spooling. Look at that. Flat. Beautiful. Oh my God, this is perfect. This is perfect. Roll. Do I have any roll authority? I don't. So roll, I'm going to have to increase the roll authority, but damn, man. This pitches beautifully now. That's awesome. Very nice. And so I made, you see the front ones will tilt. That helps me also do gentle movement. And so I have those going. And then the rears are more stable. That's really good. I'm gonna have to do, okay, so roll is, pitch is beautiful now. Pitch is perfect. Let's see if I can't incorporate roll to be the same degree of sensitivity. If I can do that and have it be perfect, that's awesome, dude. All right, so here's gyro roll. Let's go negative x, so negative 3. Oh, come on, man. Negative 3 times x, and then I need another function here. And then this will be 3 times x. It's getting a little messy, but it's not the end of the world here. So this only goes to there. I'll fix this messiness later, but again, I would rather something function than have it be perfect looking and, you know, especially with microcontrollers. You know, I don't put enough on the workshop. I used to put more on the workshop. Part of it is, you know, I never finish my stuff, and I want my stuff to be to a level that, you know, it is where I'm proud of it. And so very, very particular, very much a stickler for getting things perfect. And I'm trying to get more stuff out, but I also move on other projects. You know, lately you probably noticed I haven't had too many or as many Stormworks videos. You know, I went 200 something days without missing a day of a Stormworks video, and I've had missed a couple days here lately. I've been feeling Tarkov a little bit more and been a little bit burned out with Stormworks, and so, you know, I don't want to play if I'm not enjoying it. And so got a little bit more inspiration, and so getting back in when I'm inspired to do so. So if you're interested in the Tarkov videos, they are up. There's also been a little bit of fall off in the Stormworks community. We can see it with, you know, viewership that has gone down. It seems like that's waned a little bit. You know, be nice to get some parts. If, you know, I think the devs need to put out some parts. Would be nice. You know, because that allows us to really build more things, and it's a building game at the end of the day. You know, you get the crowd who are saying, "Oh, it's a search and rescue." It's not. You know, that was a theme that they had initially. Truly, yes, sure, it was a search and rescue game, but it's moved on from there. You know, if this was just a search and rescue game with not as good of a building thing, the game I don't think would be anywhere near as popular as it is. What makes it popular is that you can build whatever you want. And if they said, nope, you can't build anything, it's not search and rescue themed, you know, you'd see the game dry up. You know, I do love the search and rescue element of it, but it's certainly not where the game shines. The game shines with its building. Okay, so wow, that's beautiful. Whoa, 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 whoa. Spoke a little bit soon. Okay, so we're having issues here. So the roll is causing me to have issues here. Okay, I am rolling though. Am I rolling? I can't tell. Do I have the gyro on? I do. Okay, so by changing that roll value, I am now really going nuts. So the roll, okay, so the roll value should not be as sensitive as it is. So the roll is upsetting the pitch quite a bit. Okay, so I'm getting control of it, but it's overly sensitive. Can I roll at all? See, like I'm holding D and it's doing nothing. This is why, you know, you see a lot of people doing turboprops. Is the nice thing with turboprops is you get that instant you get the instant pitching. All right, so let's try something here. Let's try to do a thruster movement for roll. The roll is just not going to work for me utilizing engine thrust because I had the pitch perfect. And this is screwing me up now. So I want to try to do some roll with engine placement. So the thought is this, is if I can have the engines camber in, I would say it's probably going to drop that wing. And then if I have the other engines camber out, it's going to probably lift that wing. Let's try that. So I'm going to try to do it with rotation. So here's my pivots. So let's get rid of this element for now. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go straight across because I don't want to lose my connection there. And this will go, what's that? That's there. So this will just be for pitch now. And again, I'm going to test it before I screw it up. And so it's important to get this test in to make sure that what I'm doing is not going to really screw everything up. So now I've taken out the roll component. So what I was doing was when I want to pitch, the aft turbines are increasing their thrust, pushing the tail up. The forward turbines are decreasing their thrust, letting the nose fall. Vice versa if I want to pitch the nose up. The roll was doing the same concept. Port engines were increasing thrust, starboard engines were decreasing thrust. And so I could probably really play with it and get the sensitivities right, but my pitch was working perfectly. And so instead of ruining that, what I'm going to try to do is so yaw works by moving the turbines and changing thrust. So port, both engines tilt forward, starboard, both tilt back. That lets me yaw. And for roll, I'm going to try to do it where the two engines, the nozzles move together towards each other. And that hopefully should get me to drop a wing. And then the opposite is true, is the other side is going to have the nozzles move apart. And so hopefully that will give me more of a lifting vector and bring that side up. You know, in real life, what you do is you duct bleed air, so against compressed air coming off of the compressor section through a duct. This is how like the Harrier does it. I think the F-22 does it this way, or the F-35 rather. And so by ducting that air, you're using compressed air to push you. And so that is that would be nice, you know, if we could pipe it and then have a pressurized exhaust. But again, they'd have to make more parts, and that engine just died again. I have to fix that. I could hear it just shut down. Don't know why that engine's shutting down. It's probably a clamp issue. Like you can see, this is running lower. Okay. So I need to. I kind of probably know what it is. All right, so we're gonna test this again. Again, I took out the roll component. So pitch should hopefully still work well. If pitch works really well, I'm going to try. Okay, pitch is beautiful again. Yeah, look at, oh, okay, it's a little bit overreactive. Little bit overreactive. So 3 could be too much. Tune that in a little bit, but I think I want to do reaction for, but it's not bad. It's pretty good. It was just a little bit overreactive. So probably, you know, maybe dial it down from a multiplication of 3 to maybe just a little bit smaller. Not a ton smaller. Okay, good. And I have no roll control now. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's try to get the roll incorporated. So I'm going to save this. Because this is working well. All right, so let's try to get the pivots to operate for me here. All right, so what am I clamping these out at? That's the tilt panel. I'm doing 0.1 for yaw. So this is my yaw. All right, and then I need to add in more for, what is this? Okay, so 2 is direct. That is adding, what is this? Pitch. Okay, so the front is getting the pitch, and then the rear gets no pitch. All right. So we need to do another set of adds here. All right. So let's see. This here is going to be number 1. This here is going to be number 2. And then I'm actually going to need 4 to make it work. All right, why is that inside of it? There we go. This here is going to be 3. And where are you at? 4. 4 is right here. All right, so that is set up. All right, so let's go ahead and we need to add on our roll component. So this is pitch. Where the hell did I just put roll? Roll's down here. All right, here's gyro roll. So this is going to be my roll component. And I want to clamp this. And I think this is probably too much. But let's try it. Hopefully it's not too much. Okay, so we need this and we need negative. So we need a function. Here's a function right there. Okay. And so let's take the gyro roll. Let's go to this one and the negative value of this, like so. Okay. And so let's try to decide which way. So let's say we want to roll left. I want the engines to go in. So that means that we want to add I'm trying to think which way we going. So if I increase the number, so that's positive. What's that? Okay, it's positive, goes forward. So in order to roll left, I want to do a positive to number 1 pivot. The number 2 pivot, which is my rear left, I want to do a negative. And then it should be, okay, so that would be forward, rearward. No, this is wrong. Negative would be 2. No, it would be 2. 2 is the rear one. Okay. And then it would be the opposite on the forward one, which is 3. Okay, let's try this. And I'm going to update this, and I'm going to stick it in. I should be able to just move them while I'm sitting here. So this, you kind of think of it like how the rotors will move on a coax is kind of what it's doing. All right, so let's see. We have yaw. So this is yaw. As you can see, the front, the port 2 move forward, the starboard 2 move aftward. All right, let's get them, let them center up. All right, so they center themselves up. Now let's roll. So I'm going to go D, which means I want to drop the right wing and lift the left one. All right, so we're pushing both out on this side, and both are coming in on this side. So I'm hoping we're changing the lift vector, so we have essentially a more increased stability on this side, decreased stability on this side, and hopefully with the decreased stability, we're getting a fall. And so we shall see. If that's not doing it, what I can potentially do is do a absolute value, so it only ever goes positive. So we'll see how this functions. It may not work on the first try. There's a good chance it doesn't. I have to see. Okay. But this is going to be more reactive. The pitch is actually working all right. I didn't remove the brake, did I? The pitch is actually working all right. I need to just work on roll. I do want to cut the sensitivity down to maybe a 2, 2.5 on pitch. It's a little bit overly reactive, but it's not bad. So, I started talking about this a little bit. We have to worry about center G when we're loading cargo, and this is something you have to worry about in real life, so I have to test that as well. So I could put sliding weights in the belly and the fuel tanks to account for that. That's something I could also do. All right, so gyro's on, because the gyro is giving me some stability on these motions. Okay, let's increase. All right, so gentle with the pitch. I was over pitching before. Okay, let's roll. Am I getting any real roll? Not really. Over pitching again. It'll catch up. So I might have to double PID that and add it in instead. I think that's what I have to do. And then I can put a smaller, see we're getting an oscillation. The oscillation, like I let go of pitch and you'll see it will eventually fix itself. It's over oscillating. So if I double PID it, essentially and add the value to the other end value, that will get rid of this oscillation because I can tune that pitch PID in separately. Let's see if can I roll is the question. All right, so I'm actually pushing on my D key and I'm rolling to the left a little bit. So I'm going to see if this roll continues. If the roll continues, that tells me that it's just backwards. Okay, the roll appears to be continuing. Let's hold the A key and see if I can roll to the other side. It appears not. Okay. So can't probably do it with just cambering out the thrust like that. So the other thing too is yaw, yaw will also roll an aircraft. And so all right, so definitely we should double PID this. So let's double PID. Let's double PID the pitch. Let's fix the pitch. If I can get the pitch fixed, we're in good shape here. All right, so let's go in here. All right, and so let's see where we're at here. So right here we have our thrust setting. All right, and let's see. So right here I'm adding this in. Trying to think what I want to do here. So this will be reading in a maximum, so I can essentially change the RPS of the turbine by 3. And so then, so let's say I add 3 RPS to the number 1 turbine. It comes into what my thrust levers are saying I want. It's then going through here. It says, hey, give me a minimum of 1 RPS, give me a maximum of 40 RPS. Then it goes in here, and then it goes to the thrust. And so this P value here is probably too high. What I can do is this. Let's do a PID here. All right, and then what I want to do is let's go 1 here. Let's try doing it pretty simply here. And then, let's see, do I have another node? I do logic. Let's add this. All right, so I'm going to put in a number input of the p-value. All right, so that's going to allow me to tune this p-value here for these pitch PIDs. All right, so I can use a keypad to do this. All right, and so this is fine like that. This will go here now. And this will then connect to there instead. And so this will allow me to smooth this out properly. And then what I want to do is feed it back to itself to essentially smooth it. Just thinking of it. Yep. So let's smooth it back like that. And then all right, so this hopefully this will kind of operate well. Let's move this section in. All right. So let's try this. And so I want to just kind of, just being cautious and checking this as I go here. All right, so that's that, and then this should move down. Okay, and then this will also turn on this PID. The p-value needs to come in here. All right. All right, so kind of have it set up the way I want it. All right, so that'll go there. Gonna add. Okay, I grabbed the add as well. I didn't want to grab the add. Okay, that's there. All right, so that's there. We need to start this PID as well. All right, so we're getting here. All right, you will go there, feedback, and then there. Need to run you here. We need to run p-values again to the last two. There we go. All right, and I'll tune this p-value as I go. So 1, we'll try it at 1 to start with, and we'll see how that functions from there. This one's not clamped out. That's why this engine kept dying, was this one didn't have a clamp on it. So that would be why it was dipping below 1, and it was killing the engine. So that figure that problem out. All right, and so where are we at here? We look pretty set up, I think. I think we're good. Famous last words, I know. All right, so we need to update this. Need a keypad on the dash where I can use it. All right, let's get in here and stick you there. Don't need to do electricity. Let's grab this node. Where are you at here? I just added you right there. P-value right there. Okay, let's try this. So let's try it as a 1 to start with. All right, and this should hopefully allow me to tune and fix the oscillation of pitch. You notice it's oscillating. And so that's what I need to fix, is the oscillation. And so if I can get the oscillation fixed, that will allow me to independently tune the pitch PID and not try to tune both the pitch PID and my throttle PID at the same time. Because the thrust PID works well. It gives me the granular control I want for my thrust. And so I don't want to lose that to get the pitch. By doing this, I should be able to tune them independently and hopefully make both work the way I want. All right, so I like the way it looks. It looks really good. I like the smaller turbines. You know, if I could make them even smaller diameter, I would, but can't. Now let's raise them back up. Autopilot's on. P-value is in there. You know, one of the issues, it just takes me so long to get this launched and set up and started that I kind of want to nip it in the bud at once if I can. But hopefully, you know, once I get this in the air. Okay. So here's me pitching. I'm really trying to unsettle it. And it doesn't want to get unsettled. Beautiful. That's awesome, dude. That's really stable now. So let's pitch back a little bit. I can gently pitch back. Let's pitch forward a little bit. I can gently pitch forward. That's fixed it. So, you know, people were, I forget who asked. Somebody asked why I do a double PID for my altitude. If you're trying to do two different things, it's better to do two different PIDs, add them together, because essentially, okay, so let's see, we're oscillating a little bit here. Okay, let's, here comes the oscillation. So that could be an I value, or probably, yeah. So we're getting a little oscillation here. Let's see if I can kill this. Okay, so let me keep the oscillation in. Let me try to fix it with a p-value. Okay, so the lower p-value fixed that oscillation pretty well. It took a little bit of time. Let's make this value smaller. And I'm going to try to fix the oscillation. So I'm going to, something called PIO, pilot induced oscillation, where you can actually induce an oscillation. All right, so like I was able to easily fix that oscillation with lowering the p-value. All right, I'm going to try to upset it again. All right, it's upset. Now the gyro is going to take over, and the gyro is going to try to fix the oscillation. I'm going to see if it gets worse or gets better. So I'm hands off. I'm letting the system fix the oscillation itself. Notice it's not making as big of swings as it was last time. Let's cut that number in half-ish again. So now notice how it's oscillating even less. All right, so it's oscillating less. Now let me try to control the pitch. So I'm pitching back. I'm going to try to control the oscillation because I want to manually be fixing this. I don't want it overly automated. At the end of the day, the autopilot in real million-dollar aircrafts does stupid stuff constantly, and you have to fix it. And so I don't want to have it over control it for me. Okay, so let me try to upset it again. So first let me try to pitch. Okay, I can pitch. That's all I need. Let me try to upset it. It's very hard to upset now. All right, let me let it go. Absolutely gorgeous. Oscillation, see it's still oscillating, but the oscillation is smaller because the p-value is smaller. And I'm doing nothing, literally hands off. And so it's going to continue oscillating until it fixes itself. But see, like I could intervene, so I'm going to intervene now. I have a nose-up oscillation. I'm fighting it, and we're level. So I can easily come in and intervene and fix this. So let's try to roll here. All right, so I'm going to do some yaw to try to get that wing to drop. So let me try to do some right yaw. Okay, so I'm really upsetting it with yaw. It doesn't like the roll that I put in there. Whoop, 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 we're going to go over. All right, so something's up with, I definitely upset it with the roll. So roll needs work. Okay, it's less upset now. So something's up with roll. So I'm going to pitch forward and I'm going to try to roll it. Let me try to do a yaw roll. Okay, so I can do opposite rudder and I can get this to roll. So I'm rolling right while I'm doing left rudder, and as you notice, I can dip the wing. And now I can follow the wing along. So you actually do this in real life. You will use your rudder to help dip a wing. So perfect. I've got a strafe going. I have to do multiple control surfaces, but like I said, that's accurate. Now I want to roll right. I'm doing left rudder, and that's going to dip my wing. Okay, so this is actually functioning really well. And realistically, I don't have as much roll authority as I would like, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. What I could do is, which I'll do in the next, I'll do later, and I'll test it, and I'll let you guys know in the next video. But so one issue that I could be having is, so remember, I'm cambering both engines in to try to drop a wing, and I'm cambering both engines out. What I could do is try to make one side neutral and the other side camber, and then see how that affects it, because they could be canceling each other out. I'm essentially not doing much, but this is working really well. Let's recall this, and I think we'll end it there. But getting a little bit inspired to get back in the game. It was nice to take a little break. I was a little burned out, and so I was looking for some inspiration, and getting back in this has kind of got me there, and playing some other stuff, and so this is working really well now. So this is making some strides. So the issue is going to be this, or the potential issue is this. So let's look at something really quick before I go. And so let's look right at the center of gravity here. Where you at, guy? All right, right about here, center of gravity. Okay, so this can be an issue. That's my center of gravity. That's where I want the center of gravity to be, either loaded or unloaded, okay? If I put a container in here, I need this to still be my center of gravity. And so I need to measure, how long is this? That is 25. So the issue is going to be this. That's a container right there. Okay, that's the footprint of a container. Now, it's a little bit ahead of center of gravity. So ideally what I would want is the gap between the containers to be here. The issue is going to be this. If I put a second container in here, I definitely need it to be aftward, so maybe a 1 gap. So this could throw off my mass. I don't think the containers weigh enough to really be too much of a concern. What I could do is put a sliding weight, like a little sliding weight in the fuel tanks, or I could just do it with fuel and pump my fuel afterward and put a divider in my tank. So these are all thoughts I have to worry about, but that's coming later. Because I could very easily upset all of the flight characteristics again when I have to try testing this with containers. You know, you want an aircraft to fly well loaded and unloaded. And so, for example, like when we used to take passengers, sometimes we had to move them from, like we had 3 sections, essentially front, middle, and rear. And the weight and balance would tell us we needed to move 2 people from the front to the rear, you know, and it could be that sensitive. And it wasn't a huge deal, but in order to be within legal specs, you had to have it, you know, within those numbers. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.